Well, good evening, everybody. My name is David Carnevale. I am the Director of Undergraduate Financial Aid at Chapman University, and I want to welcome you to one of our Discover Chapman presentations. Um, we are going to be using the question and answer function of your Zoom. Um, and if I could just get someone to go ahead and type in a question in there so that I know you all can hear me, and we'll get underway in just a minute or so. Great. Looks like I'm getting confirmation that my mic is working just fine. So thank you so much. We are using the question and answer section there. So I'll be answering those questions as we go through the presentation. We'll also leave some time at the very end. So if I'm not getting to your question right away, know that it's either part of the presentation or we're going to hold off until the end to get to some of those. Let me go ahead and we'll get started here. Okay, just some housekeeping information. You should still be able to see me and you're seeing the screen as well. Total time for the presentation, we're gonna be at just about 30 minutes, probably on the dot. Um, as I said, we'll be using that Q&A feature, and I'll be publishing those questions live and answering them as we go through the presentation, and also at the end, there'll be plenty of time. Things that we'll be going over this evening. Who the financial aid office is, what we do, tuition, financial aid, application process and deadlines, and some frequently asked questions that I think will help guide you in your conversations as you're starting to look at Chapman as an option. So who we are and what we do. As you move into the world of colleges and universities, every office might have a different name at different universities. So I always think this is an important slide to show you. Um, First, we are located in the Bethal Student Service Center directly behind the Fowler School of Law. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Those are our fall hours currently. And appointments are available to speak with advisors and counselors. All appointments are remote through January 2021. There are extremely limited in-person availability for other services that we offer, um, and that will begin next week. But the best way to contact us is that email address there, finaid@chapman.edu. That's finaid@chapman.edu. Our advisors and counselors check that email constantly, and we're answering questions and scheduling appointments using that email service. So really good email for you to have as you have questions going through this process. So what do? We receive the results of your Fafsa. So you could start filling out your Fafsa form on October 1st. You will get confirmation from the federal processor that your Fafsa came through. They will send it to us as well. So as long as you indicated Chapman to receive your information, we will get that Fafsa award. Um, and we probably won't be able to do anything with it until you've actually been admitted. Not probably, we won't be able to do anything with it until you've been admitted. We actually won't get the results for quite a few weeks. They tend to send us the first batch over sometime in November for us to look at. So there's still a few weeks before we're actually able to confirm that we've received your FAFSA award or your FAFSA application. We also generate your various awards. So you will get what's called a financial aid offer from our office that summarizes your entire award. So any type of scholarships or grants you're receiving, any type of student loans, parent loans, work study, will all be in one place for you to look at. We process all your loan applications. So if you are applying for a student loan, a parent loan, a private loan, those will all come through our office and we will help you out with those. We also assist students with scholarship searches outside of the university, provide resources on our Facebook page for students and their families to look at. We receive postings almost every day for content for our Facebook page that are scholarship notices from outside organizations that want our students to apply for their scholarships. So those are kind of the basics of what we do. A couple of things we don't do. We can certainly help you out with some of these things. We can make sure that you're getting to the right office. We have limited access to most of this information, but we do not generate your bill. That comes through our Student Business Services office. We don't generate your payment plan. That's also through Student Business Services. We don't process any kind of payment. That's also through Student Business Services. And proof of enrollment is provided through our registrar's office. The nice thing is, if you email us about one of these things and it's something that we're not able to help you out with, we will make sure that you get to the right office that can help you out and the right person within that office as well. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. We'll just start with tuition and fees. This is the tuition schedule for this current academic year. For the year that started in September, goes through until May of next year. Tuition is currently $56,830. We have a health center fee of $244 for the year, student fee of $140 for the year. Estimated room about $10,816 for a new student. That is subject to change. It could depend on the type of room as well. And meal plans, when we are able to offer meal plans again, are offered at $53.20 for the academic year, for a total of $73,350 in total charges for you. And that's if you were living on campus. If your student's not going to be living on campus, you'd be looking at those first three line items there. So you'd be looking at the $56,830 for tuition, the health fee, and the student fee. So when you're looking at that bill, we need to look at kind of what tools we have in our toolbox to be able to help you pay that bill. The first is certainly a college savings plan, any kind of other savings that you've set aside. And then also monthly income. This is very similar to buying a new car. You're taking on a new monthly bill. So there's that to consider as well. We do offer a monthly payment plan. You're typically paid off within the academic year over a 10-month period. And then, of course, the reason we're all here this evening is financial aid is one of the biggest tools that we have in our toolbox to be able to help you out. So what is financial aid? When we're talking about financial aid and throughout the presentation tonight, unless I say otherwise, we're really looking at grants and scholarships. That's free money. That's money that someone is giving to the student for the benefit of going to school. They're paying your bill for you. Work study, which is an on-campus job, student loans, and parent loans. All of that is considered financial aid, and it's all one application process. And we're getting that money from the federal government, from the state government, from the university itself, and from foundations that have money set aside to give to students. So when we're talking about financial aid, we're talking about applying for financial aid for all of that at the same time. There is not separate applications for student loans and parent loans and things like that. We're looking at one application process. A couple of important things you need to know about financial aid. Our average financial aid package this year was just over $29,000. And in total grants and scholarships that we awarded out this year for students enrolling, we have $164 million in financial aid grants and scholarships sitting out there helping students attend Chapman University. I think it's really important to look at how that comes about. When we're looking at where our money comes to help students, this is as we look at our overall financial aid awarded to students. You'll notice that the biggest slice of the pie here is Chapman grants and scholarships. So that's money that the university has set aside directly to support students. And that makes up 59% of our financial aid budget. We have some federal loans in there and private scholarships. You'll notice state grants and federal grants are a little bit on the low end. That's based on the money that the federal government and the state of California provides to students. You'll notice private loans are in there as well, and work study is about 3% of the total financial aid budget. So when we're looking at where our money comes from, Chapman really has invested a lot in student scholarships and grants, making sure that students who have been high achieving in their high school and other universities or colleges, if they're transferring, are able to receive merit scholarships, scholarships for talent, and then also need-based grants and scholarships based on the Fafsa. So that's where all of that money is getting funneled in from. Some application process and deadlines that we need to look at. So the application process. Now remember, this is all tied together. So for merit scholarships, Those are going to be scholarships that we provide to students. It's based on their admission application. So there is no need to fill out anything additional if all you want to be considered for is a merit scholarship. Merit scholarships range anywhere from $10,000 to $32,000. There is no particular due date, but it follows in line with your admission deadline. So we will also award those at the point of admission. So if you are accepted to the university, you're going to receive your acceptance letter, and in that letter will be a secondary letter that says, congratulations, you qualified for this particular scholarship in this amount, and it'll to give you the terms of that scholarship. Typically those are for 4 years. If you're coming as a transfer student, it's for the time that you would be here based on the grade level that you are when you come in. And every single applicant is reviewed for a merit scholarship based on their admission application. So there is nothing else you need to do. You don't have to check any particular boxes on your application. If you submit an application for admission, we're going to review you for those merit scholarships that we have. And again, that's anywhere from $10,000 to $32,000. Some of our departments do have departmental scholarships. These have a wide range of levels that they are awarded at. It is at the discretion of the individual department. There's the admission application that's needed, and then also some type of creative supplement, an audition, a portfolio, or something else. So this would be like your theater scholarships, engineering scholarships. So they may need some additional information to show that you're going to be an asset to that particular department. And all of that information is going to be disclosed on the admission website. And you'll also be able to see it on the departmental websites as well. Some of these will have different deadlines. There's the admission deadline, obviously, but then on top of that, there's going to be when you turn in that creative supplement, that audition or portfolio, and any other documentation that the department is requesting to be able to review you for scholarship eligibility. So pay close attention to those. Those are throughout the year. And your admission officers will be reaching out to you based on the departments that you indicate you are considering for majors. Your admission officer will reach out to you and let you know about those availability based on those departments. A big chunk of our financial aid is need-based financial aid, and this is the free application for federal student aid, or the Fafsa. So in addition to your admission application, we do need you to fill out that Fafsa. If you've already submitted your Fafsa for 2021-22, that's great. And we'll look at how that works as we move forward in the timeline for you. If you're a transfer student coming in the spring semester, and you filled out the 2020-21 Fafsa, which is the current academic year, you can connect with our office and we'll be able to help you out and see if there's any additional information we need. We won't be able to get out that award to you until you have been admitted to the university. But if your students are going to be freshmen next year, you want to make sure that you're filling out the 2021-2022 Fafsa. And you'll be filling out the Fafsa every year. One of the common questions I get is it worth it for me to fill out the Fafsa? I don't think I'm going to qualify. And what I would say is, generally speaking, the Fafsa takes about 15 minutes to fill out, maybe 20 minutes if you have to look up some of the information. So yes, it's worth it. Let my office review the information and see what we can get you qualified for. We would rather have you do that than waiting to the last minute to fill it out and not knowing if there's going to be funding available for you. Now, this Fafsa is going to open you up for any type of grant that we offer at the university, work study, any type of student loan, and any type of parent loan that we may also have available for you. So without the Fafsa, the only thing that we're going to be able to offer you is a merit scholarship if you qualify, or a departmental scholarship through your individual departments. So some deadlines. As I said, the Fafsa opened up on October 1st for you to fill out. And the priority deadline is from October 1st to March 2nd. If you are applying early decision, we need that Fafsa completed by November 15th. That will give us a chance to be able to process that so that we have your information ready to go when admission decisions roll out, and those typically roll out in the very first week of December. So if you have your FAFSA into us by November 15th and you're doing early decision, we will be able to get that package out to you right away once we have admission decisions. We don't want you to wait to fill out the FAFSA until after you've been admitted. Go ahead and do that now. There's no harm in doing that. We want to have the admission decision being the thing that we're waiting on in order to get that financial aid package out to you. We would rather have that happen than the reverse, which is you get your admission decision and we're still waiting 2 or 3 weeks to get that FAFSA processed for you. We have a good question about tuition. I'm going to go ahead and answer that now. The question is tuition the same amount regardless of how many credits someone takes? So the tuition that I gave you on that slide, that is for a full-time student. Full-time is 12 units, and that range, 12 to 18 units, is covered by that tuition. Anything over that is a per unit charge on top of that total full-time financial or full-time enrollment fee. And then anything below 12 units, you are charged per unit. And something else to remember is with financial aid, most of your financial aid is going to be for full-time students. So you may not be able to get your grants or your merit scholarships or your talent scholarships if you are going to be a part-time student. So a couple of notes about deadlines. What does meeting the priority deadline mean? So you notice I say priority deadline. That doesn't mean it's a hard deadline. What that means is we're looking for that FAFSA to come in, that it's completed, the results are valid, there's no questions that need to be answered on it, nothing's been left blank, no additional information is needed. If we get a FAFSA and it's blank and we're unable to use it for processing, you haven't quite met the deadline. But we will still accept your FAFSA after the priority deadline. We will still award students who complete their FAFSAs after the priority deadline. What we do say is that we guarantee you anyone who files between that October 1st and March 2nd priority deadline timeframe, we're going to treat them the same. So we know that we have funding that can fill any of the applications that we receive during that time. After that time frame, we may actually have to look at the date your FAFSA was submitted in order to determine your financial aid package. That is very rare, but I do put that out there as, make sure you're meeting that priority deadline. Again, it's not a hard deadline, it is a priority deadline, but we wanna make sure that you have that information into us so that we can help you as you are getting ready to make your final admission decision. Now, some things that will stop us from having a valid FAFSA is if there's an issue about identity or citizenship that needs to be verified, we will not be able to generate a preliminary award for you until we clear that information. If the federal government is asking us to verify your income and asset information, we will still be able to generate a preliminary financial aid offer, but you will have to give us certain documentation that we will let you know exactly what's needed, and then we will finalize your award once we get that. So the FAFSA is filled out by US citizens and eligible non-citizens. If you are a student who is a resident of California, but you are not a US citizen or eligible non-citizen, you may be eligible to complete the California DREAM Act application. That will, it's only valid in California. We get the results of that, and we use that in a very similar way as the FAFSA. So we will be able to consider you for institutional financial aid and state financial aid at that point. Otherwise, the FAFSA determines your eligibility for federal, state, and institutional aid. You won't actually get an award on your FAFSA. So they send us the information we need. It's an eligibility document, and we push that award out to you. You want to make sure you're applying on fafsa.ed.gov or the Federal Student Aid app for your phone. Both of those sources are the exact same FAFSA, and they will be able to get that processed for you. Now, when you're filling out the FAFSA, you are going to be providing us with tax information from 2 years ago. So for the 2021-22 academic year FAFSA, you're going to be providing tax information from 2019. So in other words, the taxes that were filed this year. All other questions are as of the day that you sign the FAFSA. Okay, so that's really important. You're using 2019 tax information. All other information on that FAFSA is as of the day you sign it. Some notes about the FAFSA. I've already said this. You can complete that FAFSA tonight if you want to. You can do it next week. FAFSA is open and ready to go. You don't need to be admitted or even have submitted your admission application. We will not send you out a financial aid offer until you are admitted to the university. But we want to make sure that we have that FAFSA sitting and ready to go. So that's the last thing we're waiting for, is that admission decision. If you have your FAFSA on file by the priority deadline, you will receive your financial aid offer within a few days of receiving your admission decision, sometimes even within a few hours. We coordinate very closely with the admission office, and as soon as they drop their admission decisions, we start processing that financial aid so that you're getting that admission decision. And in some cases, you might get that financial aid offer within a few hours, and at the very latest within a few days, as long as you have met those priority deadlines. The deadlines that I'm showing you right now are for the fall semester. So for spring, you would want to be working with your admission officer right now. And most likely you're going to be working with Shannon in the admission office if you're a transfer student. And she'll be able to help you out and make sure that you're getting everything in so that we can get you that financial aid offer ready to go for the spring semester coming up. And again, the FAFSA is for US citizens and eligible non-citizens. International students are not eligible to apply through the FAFSA. Your financial aid offer is based on your admission application, which would be that merit scholarship if you qualify, and any kind of departmental scholarships that might be offered. So some frequently asked questions that I think will kind of frame our next set of questions for you. How will Chapman Financial Aid Office communicate with my student? Initially, what we're going to do is we're going to be communicating with them through their personal email. So we have things set up that's going to be going directly to the student. We're going to be making requests directly to the student. And once that student, we hit a certain point in the application process, so typically it's going to be after the May 1 National Reply deadline, we will switch over to communicating with your student through their official Chapman email and also through their official Chapman student portal. It's called the my.chapman.edu student portal. That's kind of the depository for all of the information for the student. The reason that we do this is that we need to authenticate that communication sometimes, and we want to make sure that we are getting that information directly from the student who we've assigned that email from. And again, as you're working in financial aid and you're working through the university, we are all going to be using those official forms of communication and working with the student directly, because this you move from being dependent on the family's communication cycle to making sure that we're communicating with the student and that the student has their privacy respected. So as we move through the admission cycle, when we change that over, we send out a notification first that says we're going to start communicating with you through your Chapman email, and you're good to go. Can I get a bigger merit scholarship? Your merit scholarship is awarded at the time of admission. So we have used everything that we have in your admission file to determine what you're going to qualify for. So there really is no appeal process for your merit scholarship because we have all of the information that we need to make that decision about what you're going to qualify for. So when we offer you that scholarship, that's going to be the scholarship that you are guaranteed for the next 4 years as long as you're making academic progress. That scholarship does not increase from year to year. It's awarded at the time of admission, and that's where it stays. And as long as you're making academic progress, you will not lose that scholarship. We do not offer athletic scholarships. We are a Division III school that is not allowed to offer athletic scholarships. So we can't use that athletic participation when we're considering any form of financial aid. I sort of answered this one. We make a certain amount of money. Should we complete the FAFSA? Absolutely. Like I said, it takes about 15 minutes for you to complete that FAFSA. And let us do the work and see if we can get you qualified. Worst case scenario, you might at least qualify for some student loans and parent loan. And if you want to take those, that's great. If you don't want to take those, you don't have to. Is my financial aid package guaranteed to stay the same each year? Um, if you have a merit scholarship and your talent scholarship and you're meeting the requirements of those, they will stay the same every year. All other financial aid is dependent on the FAFSA that you file, and you do need to file that FAFSA every year. So if there's changes in that financial aid or in that financial information, then your financial aid package will change, and that could go both ways. It could go up or down depending on the financial situation. And what if the FAFSA doesn't reflect my financial situation accurately? And we know the FAFSA is an imperfect form. It does ask very specific questions. Like I said, we're using 2 year ago tax information, so that may not be the same anymore. Some things may have happened. We are currently in a pandemic. Work hours are probably affected on some level. Expenses have been affected. So we do have an appeal process for your need-based financial aid. So anything that the FAFSA does not ask about, you may share directly with our office. And you do that through a formal appeal. We have an appeal form on our website. Um, Part of that is going to be a letter of explanation, documentation supporting the information that you're presenting. And we may also ask you for current year most up-to-date tax return information. Generally speaking, we are looking for things that are unique to your situation that impact your financial situation. So things that are not unique to your situation are generally dealt with in the calculation when we initially gave you your financial aid package. So really look at when you're looking at an appeal, is this something that's unique to my family, unique to my financial situation, or is this something that everyone's experiencing? And there's a good chance that if everyone's experiencing it, we've already taken that into consideration. A little bit more about appeals. Talk to us first. I have an amazing team of advisors and counselors who talk to students every day. And what we really want to do is we really want to make sure that we're walking you through the appeal process, we're getting you where you need to be, but also that we are able to kind of upfront let you know, is this something that we can appeal? Is this something that will impact the financial situation of the student? Or do we need some more information, and what kind of documentation might we need? Things that you can appeal, circumstances from within the last year that impact your family's financial situation. That could be, large medical bills, expenses relating to like moving into a remote work environment. Those might be expenses that we see next year. But we're really looking for things from the last year that are impacting the current financial situation. The appeal form generally becomes available in January. And what this means is if you're filing early action or early decision, we may not be able to look at any kind of an appeal until that point. So you really need to be sure when you're doing your early decision, early action, the information we have on the FAFSA is all we're going to be able to use to determine your financial aid package. We're not going to be able to use that appeal information. The best time to appeal is after you've received your financial aid offer letter. Before that, we're not sure what you're appealing. So until we have that offer, we don't know how to help you. So we want to make sure you get that financial aid offer. And then if you need some more information, that's when you give us a call, talk to us first, and we'll get you that appeal information. Things that we're not going to be able to look at in an appeal, we're not going to be able to consider consumer debt, mortgage payments. We're not going to be able to look at other college offers. We're not going to be able to look at the student's qualifications. These are things that don't impact the family's financial situation. And things that happened more than a year ago. Those are going to be things that we're not going to be able to look at for you because they don't impact the current year's financial situation. Um, we get these letters all the time, and my team is looking at them, and that's why we ask you to talk to us first. A majority of the time, appeals that are denied are appeals that have just sent us in blindly information without talking to a counselor or an advisor first. So make sure you give us a call. We're going to go through a couple of questions here. We have a little bit more time before we end our presentation. For transfer students coming into spring 2021, make sure you're filling out the 2020-2021 FAFSA. You will do the 21-22 FAFSA for next year as well, but for your spring semester, we want to make sure we're getting the 2020-21 FAFSA. Admission decisions are sent out for early action, typically in that first week of December or shortly thereafter. And then we try to get them out as early as the first week of March for regular decision. Um, but your admission counselors will keep you up to date on that. I believe if you follow the admission office on social media, they give you plenty of warning of when admission decisions are coming for first year students in the fall. For transfer students in the spring, you would want to work with Shannon in the admission office, and she'll let you know when those decisions are starting to come in. We have a couple of other questions about specific grants and scholarships. One of them is, does Chapman University offer full ride scholarships? We do have very limited full ride scholarships. Those are typically through the departmental level. So for example, our engineering department has brand new scholarship funds. It's a brand new program, and they're going to be offering full ride scholarships to a handful of students. And when I say a handful, we're typically looking at programs that do have full ride scholarships, which are extremely limited. We're looking at maybe 3 to 4 within a department, maybe 5 or more. So those are going to be extremely limited. If you qualify, we will let you know up front. There is no separate application that may be needed, other than any kind of the supplemental information through the departmental scholarship process. There's a question about how can we get information on other grants and scholarships. We don't have particular reentry scholarships, which is being asked. All the information about financial aid is on our website. So if you go to the Chapman University website, type in financial aid and click on the undergraduate link, it's going to take you to a wealth of information about who we are, what kinds of funding is available. Check out our webpage as well. The Facebook page. The Facebook page is going to be more outside scholarships from private foundations. So you're not necessarily going to see those on our website directly. They're going to be on the Facebook page, and you'll have a chance to apply for those. Those are not necessarily Chapman only scholarships. Those are going to be scholarships for going to any university. So if you check those out now, ultimately, if you decide that you're going to be attending Chapman, that's great. If you get one of those scholarships, it helps bring that bill down. You can still get that scholarship and use it at another university as long as it's not a Chapman specific scholarship. So on that note, I do want to thank you so much for being with me this evening. That was kind of a whirlwind tour of financial aid, and I appreciate all the great questions that we had. It looks like I answered just about everything on that list. Again, use our email address, finaid@chapman.edu. That's FINAID@chapman.edu. One of my counselors or advisors will be able to get back to you right away. If you feel like you need an appointment, it's a little early to schedule an appointment. If you're kind of fact-finding to see what's out there, that most of that information is going to be on our website. If you have specific questions about your situation, absolutely give us an email and we'll get an appointment set up for you so that you can talk to someone specifically. I hope you have enjoyed this evening and you're enjoying our virtual Discover Chapman events throughout the next 2 weeks, and have a wonderful evening.